The morning the glass walls caught her reflection, Meredith felt the quiet accusation of success staring back at her: the tailored navy dress, the corner office high above a Chicago street that never slept, the calendar packed so tightly it left no room for breath. She had everything she had ever planned for, and still the emptiness pressed against her ribs as if it had learned her schedule. What if this were you, standing on the edge of everything you worked for and realizing the one thing you never learned to want was missing, realizing that achievement could be a language you spoke fluently while your heart remained stubbornly silent? Meredith Collins had learned early how to survive without leaning on anyone. Raised in Ohio by a mother who measured love in quiet sacrifices and a father who left before the ache could settle, she carried discipline like armor and ambition like a map. Law school in Michigan, a clerkship, then the long climb through a corporate firm that rewarded precision and punished softness. By her mid-30s, she had the office with the view, the respect of partners who spoke her name carefully, and a reputation for winning cases others declined. Yet every evening, when the city lights flickered on like distant stars, she felt the same dull throb of something unfinished. If you were in her place, would you admit the loneliness, or would you keep polishing the surface until even you believed it was enough? The day Aaron Walker walked into her office, Meredith was reviewing a stack of contracts, her mind already racing toward the next deadline. He was a client referral, a small business owner facing a dispute that threatened to close his doors. He carried himself with the careful posture of someone who had learned to balance too many responsibilities at once, shoulders squared but eyes tired, as if sleep were a luxury he bartered away. There was a softness to him that felt out of place among polished suits, a quiet gravity that pulled attention without demanding it. Meredith noticed the faint crease of worry between his brows and the way he held his briefcase like it mattered, like everything he owned might be inside it. As the weeks unfolded, Meredith found herself thinking about him at odd moments, not because of the case but because of the life that hovered around it. She learned through paperwork and passing remarks that Aaron was a widower, a single father to a young boy named Samuel, trying to keep a small printing company alive while navigating a grief that never quite loosened its grip. The details slipped into her mind and stayed there, rearranging the furniture of her thoughts. She told herself it was professional concern, empathy sharpened by years of dealing with human messes disguised as legal problems. But something else stirred when she imagined him packing lunches at dawn or reading bedtime stories after long days, something that made her chest ache in an unfamiliar way. Meredith's world had always been orderly, controlled, and lonely by design. She dated occasionally, men who admired her resume more than her silences, relationships that dissolved politely before they demanded anything real. She had learned to leave before being left, to keep her heart behind glass as clear and impenetrable as the walls of her office. Yet Aaron's presence disrupted that balance. His struggles were not dramatic in the way her cases often were, they were ordinary and relentless, the kind that ground a person down slowly. Watching him fight for his livelihood while holding space for his son cracked something open in her, a recognition of courage that had nothing to do with winning. One evening, as rain streaked the windows and the city below blurred into a wash of lights, Meredith stayed late to finalize a strategy that might save Aaron's business. The building was quiet, the hum of distant traffic a low accompaniment to her thoughts. She wondered when she had last stayed late for something that mattered to her on a personal level, not just as a professional victory. If you were here, alone with your thoughts and the echo of your own footsteps, would you recognize the moment your life began to tilt, or would it feel like just another late night? The case resolved in their favor months later, not with fireworks but with relief that settled like a warm blanket. Aaron's gratitude was evident in the way his shoulders relaxed, the way he exhaled as if he had been holding his breath for years. Meredith felt a surprising swell of pride that had nothing to do with billable hours. Yet as the professional reason for their connection faded, she felt a new anxiety take its place. Her life was built on clear boundaries, and this felt like standing at the edge of something uncharted. Their paths continued to cross in small, unplanned ways, a coffee shop near the office, a charity event for local businesses, moments that felt accidental and inevitable all at once. Meredith learned about Samuel's love for dinosaurs, about the quiet evenings Aaron spent fixing old machines after his son fell asleep, about the way grief could coexist with hope if given enough patience. She found herself sharing pieces of her own story, the childhood that taught her self-reliance, the nights when success felt like a hollow echo. The walls she had built did not crumble all at once, they softened, brick by brick, until light began to filter through. Loving Aaron did not arrive like a thunderclap. It crept in slowly, disguised as concern, admiration, and an unfamiliar tenderness that scared her more than any courtroom loss. She struggled with the fear of needing someone, of stepping into a life that already carried scars. There were nights she almost retreated, tempted to return to the safety of solitude. But then she would remember the way Aaron spoke of his son with quiet reverence, the way he faced each day without guarantees, and she would ask herself what courage really looked like. If you were offered a second chance at something you never believed you deserved, would you take it, even knowing it could break you? Change came not through grand gestures but through ordinary choices. Meredith learned to leave the office before dark, to trade late nights for dinners that mattered. She learned that love did not demand perfection, only presence. She learned that success could be measured in shared laughter and the soft weight of trust, not just in titles and numbers. Aaron learned to let someone else shoulder part of the burden, to believe that grief did not disqualify him from happiness. Together, they stitched a new rhythm out of two fractured lives, imperfect and resilient. Years later, Meredith sometimes stood in that same office, the city still sprawling beneath her, and marveled at how close she had come to missing everything. She had thought love was a distraction, a weakness she could not afford. Instead, it became the quiet strength that anchored her, the reminder that even the most carefully constructed life could be transformed by one unexpected connection. The emptiness she once felt did not vanish entirely, but it changed shape, becoming a space where gratitude could live. Before the final moments of this story settle in your heart, take a second and tell us in the comments what part of Meredith and Aaron's journey felt closest to your own life, or what choice you think you would have made if you were standing where she once stood. If this story stirred something in you, if it made you think about love, loss, or the courage to begin again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, only if it truly touched your heart and reminded you that even full lives can still make room for love.